Today is March 14th, 314 Day. Most people recognize 314 as the area code for St. Louis, Missouri, but 314 is also the first digits of pi, the mathematical constant used to measure circles, a number that continues infinitely without repeating. And right in the center of that city sits a monument shaped like half of a perfect circle, the Gateway Arch. So the question becomes, is this just a monument to westward expansion, or does it follow a much older symbolic language? St. Louis has always been called the gateway to the West. Historically, it marked the moment where explorers crossed from the established eastern United States into the unknown western frontier. East represented the known world. West represented the future. And the arch stood as the threshold between those two realities. But the idea of a gateway between worlds appears long before America existed. It appears in ancient cosmology. In ancient Kemet, there was a symbol called Akhet. It represented the sun rising between two mountains, the horizon gateway where the sun entered and exited the world. The two lines guarding the horizon represented yesterday and tomorrow. The sun passing between them represented rebirth. In other words, the horizon was seen as a portal between cycles of existence. Now look again at the Gateway Arch, a massive arc rising from Earth like a horizon itself, a gateway where one cycle passes into another. The Gateway Arch doesn't just resemble a horizon, it also resembles a crescent moon. The moon has always symbolized cycles, rebirth, and time itself. The lunar cycle governs months, tides, and natural rhythms, so the arch forms a lunar gateway, a curved crescent framing the sky. When you combine that with 314 and pi, which measures circles and cycles, the symbolism becomes even stronger. The Gateway Arch isn't just any curve. It's built like a catenary curve, the natural shape formed by a chain hanging freely between 2 points. Architects discovered that when this curve is flipped upside down, it creates the strongest possible arch. That's why the Gateway Arch uses it. But symbolically, this curve represents suspension, something hanging between worlds. And that exact theme appears in ancient mythology. In ancient Babylon, the goddess Ishtar descends through 7 gates of the underworld. At each gate, she removes a layer of power until she reaches the deepest level of the underworld. Then she eventually returns transformed. This myth is known as the Descent of Ishtar. The story describes a moment where the goddess is suspended between realms, between the upper world and the underworld, between life and rebirth. The same idea expressed by the catenary curve, a shape suspended between 2 points. In Freemasonry, there is a degree called the Royal Arch. The Royal Arch represents the completion of the temple, but the arch cannot be completed without the keystone at the center. The keystone represents hidden knowledge revealed at the completion of the arch. What's interesting about the Gateway Arch is that visually it resembles it without a visible keystone, almost as if the keystone is symbolic rather than physical. In many esoteric interpretations of the Royal Arch, the central keystone corresponds with the zodiac sign of Cancer. Cancer is ruled by the moon, and Cancer represents the womb, birth, the mother, and the gateway into life. So when an arch is completed with its keystone, it symbolically forms a womb-shaped gateway, a passage through which new life begins. St. Louis sits on the Mississippi River, the largest river system in North America, just as the Nile River supported the civilization of ancient Egypt. The Mississippi became the spine of American expansion. Civilizations grow along rivers, and St. Louis became the point where exploration, trade, and migration converged. So when you step back, St. Louis begins to look a little bit differently. A city whose area code is 314, pi, the infinite number of cycles, a monument shaped like a crescent horizon, a structure built from a suspended catenary curve, an arch echoing the Royal Arch and the hidden keystone, and a city built along one of the most powerful rivers in North America. If you put all those layers together, the Gateway Arch no longer looks like just a monument. It begins to resemble something much older, a threshold between cycles, a lunar horizon gate, a mother gate where one era ends and another begins.